This is a story of 1917 when there was a war going on in Germany. We see German soldiers screaming everywhere. There were corpses all around, everyone was scared. Meanwhile, we see a young soldier. The soldier was young and was scared to see corpses all around him. He is sitting at a place seeing such a situation. Meanwhile, a soldier comes to him and says, "You can't sit like this, you have to fight with us." The soldier gets up and enters the battlefield with the rest of the soldiers. That German soldier had killed a French soldier for the first time. Time goes by like this. Now a lot of corpses of those soldiers are shown who were killed in the war going on between Germany and France. In these corpses, there was also a corpse of that boy who was scared a while ago. His corpse starts getting rotten. That's why all the corpses of the soldiers are closed in a coffin, and then one by one, uniforms were removed from everyone's bodies and were sent back to the city, so that the clothes are washed and the new soldiers are given these clothes again. In the meantime, we see the city. A boy named Paul wants to go to war, and he was fond of becoming a brave soldier. Now he also comes to the place where the army was choosing soldiers to fight. He also fills his form and gives it to them, but there wasn't his father's sign on his form because he knew that his dad would never allow him to go to the army. That's why he copies his dad's sign cleverly and joined the army with his friends. All the chosen soldiers are gathered at one place. The general comes and tells everyone that being a soldier is a matter of great pride. Everyone was even more excited to hear this. Now everyone is given the same uniforms that they had removed from the bodies of the dead soldiers. Paul and his friends were proud to wear the soldier's uniform. They felt that they did not know how good a soldier's life was going to be and how good this day is for their life. Now they are told that all the soldiers will be taken to the Western Front, which is located in the north of France. All the soldiers set out for the Western Front. They are told that they have to get off the truck halfway and start their journey on foot. When they start walking, the bombs started exploding in the ground hidden by the France soldiers. They all lie down. They are told to wear their masks quickly because gas can also be attacked on them, which is a dangerous gas that can kill them. Everyone starts wearing their masks. In the meantime, Paul sees that his companion who couldn't wear the mask, Paul was helping him to wear a mask, but he gets late in wearing his mask. At the same time, his senior shouts at him and says, "Look, help someone else when you first wear your mask." After this, they all move on. When they reach the base, the situation there was bad. The base was filled with water. Everyone is told that they have to get water out of here. Now they did not have a bucket or any other stuff, so everyone take off their helmets and start getting water. Here Paul meets a man who tells him about the situation here. On the other hand, one of his friends, who was upset to see the situation here, says to Paul, "The first did not know that there are such situations in the war. I can't stay here, I have to go back to my house." But now there was no use of any such thing because they could not leave without fighting the war. Similarly, the night appears while taking out water. At night, they are given the responsibility to stand on the border and guard it. When Paul was guarding with his companions, he was completely unaware of the fact that a bullet can also be fired here. Then a bullet hits his head and he falls down. He thinks if that bullet had not hit his helmet, he would not have been alive today. He survived because of his helmet. After a while, bombs had started falling here. There was chaos. All the soldiers go to the basement and hide. Bullets were fired all around. Paul's friend, who was regretting coming here, gets scared and was shouting that I have to go back to my house, but no one was there to listen to him. Then when one of his companions was moving out, a bomb blasts in his feet. Due to it, his body was shattered. This scene was terrible. Seeing this, everyone was even more scared. Bombs also start exploding. This made everyone feel that the basement was going to fall. That's why they have to move out as soon as possible. Everyone leaves now, but Paul does not go. In a while, the basement falls and everyone thought that Paul died in that basement. When the soldiers come in the morning and remove the wood, Paul was still alive. Then they take Paul out and makes him sit in a place. The same man comes in front of him again who met him here for the first time and given him all the information about this place. He knew that Paul would be hungry, so he gives him a piece of bread to eat. Now a soldier comes here and says to Paul that you cannot sit idle like this. Collect the badges of all the soldiers who have died on which their names are written, so that we can inform their family. When Paul was collecting all the soldiers' badges, he also gets his friend's spectacles, who was scared. When Paul goes a little further, he finds his dead body. Seeing this, Paul started crying, but he knew that he could not cry much, so he starts completing his task. Time passes like this. An officer enters the names of the dead soldiers on the register from their badges, and tells his senior officer named Matthias about all this. That officer says, "Sir, more than 40,000 soldiers have been killed. We should stop this war, otherwise, don't know what will happen." After listening to him, Matthias was thinking, how did we stop this war? Matthias now calls all his senior officers and starts the meeting. There, Paul and his team were now being sent from one place to another base, where they had to stay with other soldiers. Going there, they find out that there is a farm nearby from where Paul and his companion Steel Ducks eat them deliciously while cooking them. They had eaten such good food after a long time, and then everyone was sitting and peeling potatoes for dinner. That's when they see some French girls going near the base, who were beautiful. One of Paul's team goes to them and shows them a strange dance to impress them, then he goes with them. Then after a while, letters came from everyone's house which were being distributed among them. Paul's teammate, who did not know how to read and write, comes to Paul and gives him his letter to read, from which Paul finds out that he had a wife and a child, but the child died due to some disease. The night appears and their teammate came who had gone with the girls. He comes and tells them the whole story and also shows a handkerchief of the girls which he had brought with him. In the morning, they get the news that 60 more soldiers are coming, but they have not reached their base yet. Everyone was worried. That's why Paul takes all the soldiers and goes to find them. Where did they go? When they reach the station in search of them, the train they had to come from, they feel the gas spreading there. When they go to the room near the station, they find out that all 60 soldiers were killed due to the gas spreading, because they had removed their masks before time. Everyone is scared to see the corpses of 60 soldiers. On the other hand, in Germany, we are shown the senior head to whom a soldier comes and tells that the 60 soldiers we had sent in the war, they were also killed. We should just stop this war now, but the head says, "No, I can't stop this war, I don't like defeat. Now send all the remaining soldiers to the Western Front and if needed, gather more soldiers." On the other hand, we see Matthias worried because of the soldiers, because everyone was dying the next day. That's why he wanted to stop this war somehow. He was trying to somehow talk to his government. Paul and his team are shown. Everyone has to go to the Western Front. The head has ordered everyone to get ready for the war. Matthias had also succeeded in gathering everyone. He talks to all the officers and tells them how bad the effects of war are on the country. That's why we should end the war. He had prepared the entire report that all the officers should sign it. So they will stop the war, but a French officer does not sign and says, "I will do signatures after 72 hours. Matthias gets angry at this and says, "Sir, don't know how many innocent soldiers will die after 72 hours, but that French officer does not listen to anything and remains adamant on his own. On the other hand, Paul and the rest of the soldiers are told to move towards France. They do the same and were killing all the French soldiers one by one. In the meantime, Paul and his companions reach their kitchen where there was delicious food. Everyone broke on the food after seeing it. They now hear strange noises there. When they go out and see, the French soldiers had brought big tanks. When they fire at them, they come to know that their bullets will not have any effect on them because those tanks were strong. They were now slowly moving towards them and killing the German soldiers one by one. Now the German soldiers also put bombs in those tanks. Due to it, the tanks also blasted, but the French soldiers now had fire guns with which they were now leaving the fire and killing the German soldiers. In the meantime, Paul's friend is also captured by them. He apologizes a lot and had also surrendered himself to them, but the French soldiers burn him alive and kill him. Paul was broken seeing all this. Matthias gets a report prepared by France in which he told that there are some German officers who do not want the war to end. Matthias now talks to other officers about this and says we will have to end the war. An officer says if we do this, then France will take over us, but Matthias says no, now we just have to compromise. There, in the battlefield, the French Air Force had attacked the German soldiers. They were shooting at them and dropping bombs. Then Paul falls into the water due to the explosion of the bomb and shows himself as if he had died. That's why no one attacks him. Now when he is about to get up, a French soldier sees him and bombs start raining on him. That's when he himself slipped and fell down. Paul now catches the soldier and hits him many times with his knife, but he does not die. That's why Paul now puts soil in his mouth so that he dies due to shortness of breath. Later, he remembers what he is doing. Now he tries to save the soldier's life. That's when Paul gets a picture of his wife and son from the soldier's pocket. After a while, the soldier also died. Paul says, "I will definitely go to your house and will tell your wife that you were a brave soldier." After it, Paul returns to his base where everyone was happy and celebrating the victory. Paul goes to a friend who was injured. He gives him the same handkerchief that he got from the French girls. He tells Paul that another friend of ours was killed. Now Paul goes to his other friend, seeing whom he becomes happy to see. He had come to his injured friend with his food. The injured friend who had stolen a fork from him and starts hitting it in his neck because he knew that he would not survive. That's why he killed himself, and after a while he dies. Paul's other friend tells him that I have heard that the war is about to end. Paul says, okay, but I don't think so. Matthias is shown who had taken permission from all the German officers to end the war, but France does not sign those papers and says the war will continue for another 6 hours. Similarly, in the morning we see Paul who goes to the farm with his companion so that he can steal something from there again and eat well. Paul goes inside that farm while his companion was standing outside and guarding him, but the son of the farmer saw him and shot Paul's companion's belly. Paul was worried about his companion and says, "Come, I will take out your bullet," but his companion says, "No, you just give me a cigarette and take me to the base, I will be treated there." Paul also does the same. When he was taking his companion, he sees a car full of soldiers on the way who were happy because the war was over now. Paul asks them for help, but no one helps him. When he reaches the base with his companion, the doctor tells him, "Your companion is dead." Paul says, "How can this be? Only one bullet was shot in his stomach, how can he die?" The doctor says, "Because you were late in coming, the bullet passed through his liver. Due to this, the poison spread in the body." Paul becomes sad to hear this. This war had taken away all his companions from him. His last companion is also killed. After this, they were given an order that everyone will have to reach the head, the one who had not yet given up. He tells all the soldiers that we still have some time left, we have to attack France and kill them somehow, but half the soldiers do not agree to this because now they did not have to fight any war, but still, they have to agree. They wait to strike 11 o'clock after reaching the base of France, but before that, the French soldiers had attacked the German soldiers. Paul sees a French soldier beating a German soldier who was an innocent child and had just joined the army. Paul saves him and comes to the basement to fight the French soldier. Then a French soldier came from behind and stabbed Paul. Meanwhile, it is also announced that the war is over. Paul, who was injured, slowly moves forward to see the scene after the war. He comes out and falls. The boy whose life was saved by Paul, an officer comes to him and says, "Gather all the dead soldiers' badges." Then the boy meets Paul again, who was now dead. He had the same handkerchief that his wounded companion had given him. That boy takes the handkerchief from Paul's hand and puts it around his neck so that he can remember Paul all his life. He had saved his life. This was Paul's story. He thought that his life would be happy after becoming a soldier, but did not know what difficulties he would have to face. Just like this, many of our brave soldiers are standing on our border protecting our lives while putting their lives in danger. With this, the story of this film ends.